Hello and welcome to Session 0. I am Lincoln L. Hayes, and yes, I got a haircut. I'm excited about it. I'm more excited, though, about this episode. I have a fantastic panel, a bunch of ladies who punch. For you musical theater nerds, you'll appreciate that. But you don't want to hear me. You want to hear we all ended up in the same color somehow almost. So let's just throw it to the grid view and welcome everybody to the show. You know, in addition to calling it Ladies Who Punch, we could call it Ketchup and Mustard. Sorry, Jenn and Ellen. That's just the way it goes. All right, everybody unmute yourselves because I didn't get any laughs on my joke. It wasn't a good joke, but you know, I wanted to hear something.
Silent laughs.
Indeed. The best kind for comedy. You want those silent laughs.
That's what you're really after.
Nothing I love more than doing a show and just all those silent laughs.
That's why you do it, honestly.
It's just
that's why you do it.
I pay my rent in silent laughs.
Yeah.
True.
I think it's actually it also works as a vaccine for COVID, I heard.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I did hear that.
Good to know.
Amazing.
I'll have to tweet that out.
Yeah.
All right, we got some new faces on the show this week. I'm very excited. So let's just jump right in with introductions. Going to start off with Lucy Horton. Lucy, welcome back to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. I'm Lucy Horton. I am currently playing ZAVARY, Oathkeeper, who is a tiefling cleric in our campaign of Out of the Abyss. And I've been playing just coming up on a year. I started playing in like April of last year.
That's right. Playing in that game with Lucy. It's a lot of fun. Her character who just left, her fighter, gave my character the gauntlets of ogre strength.
Oh, they're so cool.
So my Aarakocra now has a strength of 19.
Boom.
What? I'm a muscle bird.
He's got titanium hollow bones.
That's right. Take that. Newcomer to the show, welcome. Annette, tell us about your character and your time playing D&D.
Hey there, I'm Annette Wierstra. Kind of my main character is Amelia. She is a human fighter, but I haven't played her for like a year because COVID is preventing us from playing in person. We just decided not to, but I do play an assortment of characters on Total Party Kill, which is a podcast about Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm still playing, just my poor main character is she's sitting there waiting for me to get back to her. We
are familiar with Total Party Kill on this podcast because I love that podcast and I listen to it a lot. And you guys are playing Curse of Strahd on the show and we're playing Curse of Strahd. And it's just fun to see how two completely different groups play the same module. Good times. Welcome, Annette. Welcome also a newcomer, Mary, to the show.
Hey, how's it going? I'm so pumped to be here. So yeah, my name is Mary McNulty, and I have been playing D&D for like 5 or 6 years now. It's been a lot of fun. Actually, I was in on some of Lucy's first games, which was a ton of fun.
Tons of fun.
And normally I have one campaign going, but because pandemic, I have 2 campaigns going currently. So I chose one of my characters, Petti, who is a Tabaxi Horizon Walker. And I'm having a lot of fun with her. Yeah, she's awesome. She's also a hairless cat Tabaxi because why not?
Why not? Why not? Go for it. That's awesome. We have a Horizon Walker in one of our campaigns too.
They're so cool.
It's so exciting. Cool. Yeah. His force damage with his bow is just like, shut up. That's awesome.
Oh, a bow fighter. I'm up close. With the sword.
Nice. All right. Next up, also in Mustard, is Lindsay. She's back again from the Improvised Weapons podcast. Welcome back, Lindsay. You are muted. And Virgil.
With my cat.
Virgil makes an early appearance.
Look at that chunk of love.
Hi, y'all. I'm Lindsay. That's Virgil. Bye, buddy. It's probably for the best. He purrs so loudly. I am representing my recently retired character, Ildov, from the podcast Improvised Weapons. She's a half-elf warlock. I had the pleasure of playing her for like 3.5 years, something like that. It all seems so far away now. I did, yeah, I did start a new campaign recently, but I'm, maybe I'll talk more about that later. Yeah, I miss Ildov. She was so badass and so amazingly destructive.
Also, that's a spoiler for me because I haven't caught up on the podcast yet. But I know you're coming to the end.
That doesn't mean I don't. That's not a spoiler. That's not.
Don't worry.
I just meant like in a general sense, like she breaks hearts.
General retirement.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I know that the campaign is ending, and that's how they work. So that's good. All right.
That doesn't mean anything, though.
Next in the adjacent room to me is my wife, Rachel Hayes. Welcome back, Rachel.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be back. I have been playing for a couple years now, played like very sporadically. And then a couple years ago, we started a campaign that has been going for about 2 years now. And then now I'm in another one that started because of the pandemic. That's been about almost a year. We started that one in April. And that's the character I picked to talk about because I haven't really gotten to talk about her a lot. Her name is River Swift. She is a water genasi rogue swashbuckler. And I really love playing her. And she's a little bit different than my tiefling druid, Naxori, who I play in my other campaign. And it's kind of fun to play the two different characters simultaneously. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Particularly fun when she tries to do sneak attack damage with her druid. And we're like, nope, wrong game. She's like, fuck. And then when she is the Genasi, she's trying to do nature stuff, and it's like, nope, that's the wrong character again. So it's a lot of fun. We play those on alternating weeks. So literally every week goes, wait, which game are we playing?
Who am I?
Who am I
anyway?
I mostly just want to do sneak attack all the time. I just want sneak attack all the time.
Just
It
have
should
your
just be a
have your druid take one class of rogue and you'll be set.
Oh, she's not sneaky. She is not good at being sneaky.
All right, coming back since the newbie episode, she's back again. Welcome back, Jenn Petti.
Yes, hello. I am Jenn. I am currently playing Callista. She is a human Twilight Domain cleric, playing in a homebrewed ancient Greece game. Very fun. We met Heracles a couple weeks ago. It was wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the game, remind me, where Spartans canonically have Cockney accents.
Mhm. I have a great follow-up about that.
Excellent.
Oh my god, I
Looking
can't
forward to
wait.
it.
I'm so excited.
Looking forward to it. And back once more since her fantastic appearance, where you have probably my favorite clip that I've posted. If you have more than 10 HP, I'm turning this car around and we are going home. Ellen, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I feel very strongly about that still. So yeah, don't make me save you. Luckily, so I play ARLYSS LONEWINTER, a half-elf paladin wild sorcerer hybrid. So I don't really do a lot of saving people at this point. There is the paladin side where I could, but mostly I just like crush things with divine smite, honestly, and then wait for my magic to backfire because the sorcerer track that I took is wild magic. So yeah, and I'm in one of those every other week campaigns that Rachel plays in, which
Indeed.
has gone on for about 2 years.
Indeed. And because ARLYSS is currently in Barovia, she has a new wild magic chart that she plays from. And the 2 times that it's gone off, one time she grew a useless appendage off of her side, and another time she grew a face on the back of her head that I said just went all the time.
Yeah.
Because
When your
Barovia.
DM decides to make it worse, you're like, I'm already pulling off of like a horror table,
Yes.
which because it's only, so I did start originally, I guess all of the tables are technically tables of 50, which is kind of bullshit because you're rolling a 100. I found a table that uses 100, and now that we're in Barovia, the horror table is also stupid 50, and so I've been cutting the like even numbers with this chart of hallucinations that I found. So it's messy, y'all. It's messy.
Wild.
Yes.
Well, man.
And because she plays that sorcerer more than she plays in the paladin, it's rolling every time, and it's
Yeah.
just a lot of fun.
I
It is
have
a
gone
lot of
all
fun.
the way up to like 10 or 11 before I've triggered it.
That was wild. That was wild. All right, let's roll initiative for our first question.
Guys, I never roll well, so this is weird.
She wasn't kidding about Nax having a low dex. Her initiative is usually in the single digits.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, wife. These are tough because I know the answer to a lot of these questions because you're the only human I talk to in person.
Well, your audience doesn't.
That's very true. That's very true. All right. What movie or literature proxy is there of your character? I know the answer, but I think it's a fun topic.
Oh, well, for River, I kind of wanted her, I picked like the swashbuckler. I wanted her to be a pirate, but I modeled her sort of after Han Solo. So she's a little bit cocky. She does have, a heart of gold, but she gets annoyed very quickly. She just kind of charges ahead. She can make friends with anybody. And when you're in her crew, then she's very loyal and you're like her family. But so I modeled her after Han Solo, which has been a lot of fun to play. And it's very different from my other character who's a little socially awkward and shy. River is definitely not those things.
No. River is a blast and difficult to run campaign for because of her sneakiness. And now she can fly because I gave you a magic sword and all this other silly shit.
Yeah. It also gives me Beyonce hair when I hold it. The sword does. It like blows my always damp hair. So I'm pretty amazing.
She's super hot.
I'm blue.
Following up on Harrison Ford, Lucy, perfect segue. Who is your movie proxy for ZAVARY?
So ZAVARY's movie / celebrity proxy would 1000% be Karen Allen as Marion Ravenwood in Indiana Jones. 1,000,000%. Like, she is a little shit, like a total shit. She'll cut a bitch and she'll loot a corpse faster than anybody. She can drink anybody under the table and talk her way out of almost everything. She's kind of ridiculous in that way, like just being able to talk herself out of any situation, and is utterly incorrigible but utterly charming at the same time. She's a lot of fun. Chaotic neutral, baby. She's a blast.
Jenn, any basis for Callista?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's a straight one-to-one mapping, but she definitely has some Dickensian orphan to her. Because she is also an orphan, and I like to describe her as a little scamp and kind of rough and tumble and like just running around, getting into scrapes. She's very but she does it to like defend people. So very much like she'll cut a bitch if you like have wronged her or someone she loves, but in like a fun teenager way.
The best kind. I want to be cut by a teenager. That no
Who
one
doesn't.
Mary, on to you. Any basis for your character?
None really. I didn't initially go in like basing her off of anyone, but perhaps my subconscious did. Pei is I kind of was like going off the Horizon Walker thing. So very cat-like. She just kind of appears next to people. And she's very quiet. So all of a sudden she'll just like in someone's ear be like, hello there, I need your help. Like, oh, I think we should, and whoever it is, the party caught on quickly. So every time I did that, someone would be like, God, like, oh God, you're there. Much like a cat when you're like, where the heck did you come from? Other than that though, I guess you could say her basis is a real cat, but is that kind of lame for a tabaxi? Also / don't care.
That's the most tabaxi cat thing ever. To be, I'm a cat. What? I love it.
Yeah, but no direct literary or movie parallels that I can think of.
I will say, have you ever seen that episode of 30 Rock where they're having a fight in IKEA? And there's
I'm sure
one IKEA worker who's just like,
there we go. That's
like around
Pei.
the corner.
Done.
Okay. I think I lost Lindsay in here. I did. Lindsay, you're up.
Speaking of cats.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of cats that appear out of nowhere. I didn't create Ildov with any specific characters in mind, but I think I guess now that I'm thinking about it, sorry. This is my life.
Oh, that got me.
So good.
All right, buddy. I guess if I had to pick two characters, because I don't know that there is really one that I feel like I'm probably forgetting some like movie villain or something that follows her exact origin story. But for now, the things that come to mind are she's kind of like if like Samantha from Sex and the City merged with like Holden Caulfield.
Wow.
I get,
Yeah,
like really angsty
I
and
get it.
horny. I don't know. Like
I love that.
So it's a mood.
it's a real mood. Yeah.
Ildov certainly has a like comic book anti-hero, sometimes villain-esqueness to her. Like as soon as you're like, I don't know where she might have come from in her origin, I immediately thought of like Emma Frost from X-Men, who starts out as a bad guy, and then all of a sudden she's the co-leader of the X-Men and Astonishing X-Men. And then I think she does bad shit later too, but it's just like, you're good now? All right.
I mean, she definitely has the capacity for both good and evil. I don't know. Yeah, kind of like a Lady Deadpool.
I dig it. I dig it.
Yeah.
All right. Ellen, you're a big reader. Was there any literary or movie basis for ARLYSS?
No, I was really taken with the concept of a character. Well, so I love the like. Sorry if my radiators are like clanking like someone lives in them. I was really taken with the idea of this character where like the push-pull of order and like chaos. And I mean like the wild magic, unruly, like let's mess up this game for my DM and party today, like aspect just really appealed from the beginning. And then finding this like paladin hitter who would be sort of trying to stomp that part of her down. That was kind of where and so yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking over it now, like who is she the most like? And I guess the only thing that like maybe person really comes to mind would be like if Christy Carlson Romano's character from Cadet Kelly got kicked out of school and like put on the road with some, like the Freaks and Geeks party trying to find their way around and save people. I don't know, like she's just sort of constantly like, no, these are the rules, and like we have to help people and get back into school. Somehow we have to get back into where we got to impress the elders and like get let back in so that they, love us again. And, unsurprisingly, like over the course of the 2 years we've played, that kind of dedication to the boarding school, like religious order that my character came from has really loosened up, and she's come to understand the ways that a little disorder is not only natural, but, can lead to really great things. Yeah. What is that character's name? Is it Jennifer? I think she might be called Jennifer.
Can't think of
Jessica.
what it is. I know the reference. I cannot think of what it is.
Though.
Oh yeah.
Jennifer is a great name.
It is a great name.
Jessica, not so much.
I'm gonna look it up.
Jennifer,
I have to look it up.
great name.
I was about to
Let's
say,
find out.
yeah, that's my sister's name. And then,
Christy
that's
Carlson Romano, Cadet Kelly.
well, you find that.
Captain Jennifer Stone.
There it is.
Oh,
Who knows?
there you go. It's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
There it is. Well,
Why
well
do
done.
I remember these things?
All right, I have a cat attack now.
See,
She
they
brought
just
me a toy.
appear.
Mhm.
They appear out of nowhere.
Mine
I
will
blame-
probably start yowling at the door in like 5 minutes.
I blame Annette's shirt, which is a perfect transition into
It's true.
Annette. Hello, Cleo. Welcome.
Yes. I had no idea what I was doing when I made my character. It was the first character ever. She was the starter character, and I named her after a book character, Amelia Peabody, who is a mystery novelist, or she's like a mystery character and written by Elizabeth Peters. And she is like a turn of the 20th century archaeologist who has a sword in her parasol. And I thought, well, she seems cool. I love her. I've also named my cats after characters in her book. for Mary, who I think might recognize, it was like, my cats' names are Ramsey and Nefret. So it's like Amelia just seemed like a natural. Yes. So 2 out of 4
That's
of
so
my
cool.
cats. So yes, and I have another cat named Sekhmet, also named from that same. So like I love that series. And it's like I feel like she's me with an axe. If you gave me a great axe and told me I could go whack things, I just really have a lot of aggression and I wanted to start hitting things. And I have tried, like that's the fun thing about doing the podcast. I don't do the long adventures. I do like the short runs where we're playing like 4 to 6 episodes. The longest we did was the Shocktober, where I played haunted house in over 3 years. Every October we gather again and we play. And I was in a Scooby gang and I played Velma, the druid, a dwarf. She was a dwarf because she's kind of short. And so like that like since then I've kind of figured out a little bit more who I want to play and but for her, I just really like hitting things, and I'm going to be the first person to go in a room and hit things. And I have a lot of brothers. Apparently I just want to beat the shit out of boys and goblins.
Bravo.
Whatever.
I think Ellen can sympathize
I
with
do.
the
I have no brothers. I only have sisters, but
you want to whack them
just-
too.
you just want to roll in and like smite some shit. It's just too
We had
much
a-
chatter,
we-
man.
we had a run of I feel like we went like 2 months without playing, and then we like got together for a social engagement in the before times, and Ellen was like, can we play D&D? I really just want to smash something.
Yeah, that's me.
It's like, yeah, let's
So
do
yeah,
that.
I've done characters with magic, but I still I know it's not as like it seems not as exciting, but I just want to roll something and get a 20 and just really take someone out.
Smash and smash.
No,
Yeah.
I get it. I get. I mean,
get it.
like using like Eldritch Blast all the time.
Yeah.
I had like the Rod of the Pact Keeper, and I would just like pierce things and like explode them. That's like
See, that
that
sounds
is
fun.
and like I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know how far you are into the podcast.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll catch up.
But I assume you've probably gotten to the point where like souls are being pulled into the rod.
Yeah.
So every time I would kill something, its soul would like creep into the rod, and that was just I don't know. It made me feel very empowered.
Well, literally, you have other people's souls that
You
can
have
use,
the
so yeah.
power.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's roll once more for another question. First up will be Lucy.
Boom.
What piqued your interest to pick up the dice?
I've always wanted to play. Like there he is. Can you hear him? That was Scooter. He's at the door.
Yes.
He's yelling. He's being a butt. He just had his dinner and now he wants to come in here. Cool. But I've always wanted to pick up the dice. I've always been interested in fantasy-based video games, fantasy movies, fantasy books, all of those kind of really absorbing you into a whole different world. And I loved choose your own adventure books when I was a kid, just to, if you want to do this, flip to this page and whatever. Like that was my jam when I was growing up. My favorite book until way into it's still one of my favorites, but my favorite book growing up was The Hobbit. Like that was my hands down. Anybody asked me what I wanted, it was The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. That was my jam. So it kind of seems natural that I would eventually get to this point, but it wasn't really until March happened that I could really let myself, with me and my husband Ted and I play together, that I really let myself be like, hey, we have the time because we're both so busy normally. So like, why don't we actually learn and figure out what this is and see if this is something for us? Because I'd always wanted to play. I was just super intimidated by kind of the stereotypical culture around the game. And thankfully to people like, all of us here sitting here now, we all know that's not the case. And once you start saying like, hey, I learned how to play D&D, so many people come out of the woodwork being like, oh my God, I do too. Oh my God, I do too. Oh my God, I do too. So it's really like, it was always there. Like I always wanted to, but actually having this time to be like, I ain't got nothing else going on. Let's do it. It was really nice to be like, okay, cool. Let's find our creative outlet. Let's find a way to fall into this world of real creation and real creativity and a real outlet that we can't do in any other way right now. And that was really, that really has been like a savior for both me and my husband pretty much this whole year. So that's the long version. The short version is we get time.
Pandemic. That's how.
Pandemic.
Mary, same question to you.
Oh man. I mean, a lot like Lucy, I've always been like a huge sci-fi nerd fan to the point where like my teachers are like, Mary, you have to do book reports on things that are not fantasy. And I was like, no, I don't.
You can't make me.
Can't make me. Which is, you know, because they were like, life isn't always pretend, which is kind of funny to me now, like as a person who consistently plays D&D, World of Warcraft, and am also an actor. So like I feel like I'm always surrounded by some sort of fantasy world in some way, shape, or form. Yes, I do play WoW.
Yeah!
It started back in college and then I gave it up for a while and then I was like, pandemic.
Wait, can I? Okay, just to totally waystation you, do you play classic or retail?
Retail.
Okay, we're playing classic, and it's the
I have played classic, but my friends that I'm playing with are all playing retail, so we're now playing retail so we can all play together, and you know, it's more fun that way. But yeah, I mean, I've always had a real affinity for sci-fi and fantasy, so it just kind of, yeah, it seemed like the natural way forward. And also my groups that I play with, it's primarily actors and a couple of muggles, not actors. So it's a really fun place to get to like test out accents. And I'm learning this new thing. Please don't make fun of me. And then, you know, a session later, you're like, I'm abandoning that. And we're going to go a different direction. Accent was not working out for this character. Yeah, that's the answer there. Always.
I feel you on the accents. I have a gnome monk who started out Scottish. He is not Scottish anymore.
Or you pick that voice and you're like, oh wait, this is way too much for this chatty of a character. Can't keep that up.
Wait, can I talk about the Spartan thing now?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I'm playing in this homebrewed ancient Greece game, and as a goof, we very early on in our first session, we ran into a Spartan, and as like a goof, I don't remember if we were just joking or what. Like we said that the Spartan had a Cockney accent, and we forced our DM to do a Cockney accent. He was very angry with us, but we were just like, this is what it is now. Like this, you have to accept it. And then I talked about it on this show, and then I told the people that I play with, and I was like, and now it's like in the universe in a consumable form. So now it really, really is always true. And just this past session, our characters had to escape to Sparta. And so now every time we pretend to be Spartan, he makes us roll a performance check and makes us do the accent. So our DM has gotten his revenge.
We always do.
Amazing.
We were like, oh no, what did we do to ourselves?
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
I have a player who, in his backstory, he's a drunk. So he's constantly drinking from his drinking horn. And I make him do a constitution check every time. And as soon as we get to 3 or 5, I start adding in detrimental effects to it. But it's like, all right, if you want that to be what you do, I'm going to make you do it every time mechanically. And if you fail, you might die. And that's fun for me. But guess what, Jen, it's your turn to talk about what piqued your interest. So that worked perfectly.
So the very first thing that made me interested in playing was maybe like 6 years ago, I watched the Geek and Sundry show Ashes of Volcana, which was an original TTRPG that they wrote, and had like Hank Green, Yuri Rosenthal, Allison Hayslip, Laura Bailey. And that was the first like actual play thing I had ever watched. Didn't know that was a whole thing, and really enjoyed it, and was like, oh, man, like now that I kind of understand what this really is, because I knew about D&D through the zeitgeist. I had, I think, a grab bag of assumptions about it, but I didn't really understand what it would look like to play. And so once I watched that, I was like, this was really cool. Like they told a really compelling story. It looked like they were having a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching it. I bet I would have a lot of fun playing it. But that was like 6-7 years ago. So it took a very long time to go from like, I think I'm interested in this thing, to an opportunity being presented to me to actually play. But now that I'm here, I'm very happy.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
For me, it was also listening to Adventure Zone, and then later a Total Party Kill once I learned that Erica was on it, and now Critical Role being, the behemoth that it is. And it was like, oh, this could be really, really fun. And I'm very glad I did as well. Ellen, what brought you to the table?
Oh, I feel like my story is not nearly as good because it's just straight FOMO, really. Like
FOMO is real.
FOMO is real.
It's
To
real.
respect to the
Yeah.
FOMO.
Respect the FOMO.
Yeah, like
That was part of mine too. FOMO is definitely part of it.
I mean, I certainly read Tamara Pierce. I work in publishing and I've never read The Hobbit or any Lord of the Rings books. I know I'm
How are
the
we
worst.
friends?
Ellen.
I'm sending
We're
you a copy
friends.
like tomorrow.
Okay,
That's
we all
sacrilege.
I think
we all have our
the
gaps.
Dylan might have a copy. I know.
I
but
have
now I'm
like
like-
3 copies.
I know, I do too. It's the kind of book that's like delicious. You can't get out of it,
Well, at this point, I'm like, maybe I'll just but that would be a long time. I was like, maybe I'll just wait for my kid to grow up old enough that I'm going to read it out loud to him, but that's years away.
You can read it to him now.
Start
That's
now.
totally
Read it
fine.
now.
It was read to me when I was little, and I read it, ended up reading it in 4th grade.
Well, so then I don't have to wait that long. He's 14 months old. We'll start tomorrow.
Now.
Right now.
By the time you
start-
get all the way through the
leave
through
this,
through
start
all
right
the
now.
books.
Just start with
Yeah.
a Silmarillion, and by the time that you get
That's what I was gonna say.
I'll just
Great.
whisper it to
Full
him in his
education.
dream.
Full
Yeah,
education.
exactly. No, my husband loved the Adventure Zone, and actually, I feel like I'm like slightly in hot water at my literary agency because of a friend of mine was like, oh, I love the Adventure Zone, and then then the next thing I know, Dylan was listening to it, and his friend, and so I'm like decently aware of it, and then I don't know, a year or two later, they get a book deal that does really well, and I happen to mention to a coworker who represents these kinds of books, like, oh, I remember learning about Adventure Zone when they were still kind of small, and he was like, what is wrong with you? Why didn't you tell me about them? I would have signed them if I'd only known. And I was like, okay. So anyway, this is a long roundabout way of saying that he wanted to play, my husband wanted to play, and then our friends wanted to play, and then Lincoln here was like, oh, I can DM, and Rachel was like, I'm in, and then suddenly I was like, well, I guess me too. Cool. I have a theater degree. I can do this, I bet. And then I really feel like, honestly, the other factor was Stranger Things made it look like a lot of fun. So here I am. It turns out it is fun. And
Stranger Things did a lot for this game. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Annette, what brought you to the table?
It was not remotely on my radar at all. I grew up in the 80s. I lived through Stranger Things. When I was in the 80s at a Christian school during the Satanic Panic, Dungeons and Dragons was super evil. We didn't talk about that. You certainly didn't play it. So nobody I knew played it. My husband did. He also went to a Christian school. He was like a little rebel and played Dungeons and Dragons when he was younger. But it just wasn't on our radar at all. And then I met Erica, who's been on the show and does Total Party Kill. And she really wanted to DM. She'd been playing for a really long time and decades. And she's like, what I want to do for my birthday is DM. And I'm going to DM for you guys. And so when your friend says that, you go, if that's your birthday wish, sure, let's do it. And I thought we thought maybe we'll play one game, maybe we'll keep going. It's been, I think, 3 or 4 years where we play sporadically and whenever we can and whenever we feel like it. But I was hooked after the first time. I was like, oh, I come in from not the acting, but the writing perspective. And it's just this is just storytelling. And I find so many board games are really boring because you do the same thing over and over and over again. And so I'm not super keen on playing board games, but it was so much fun because it's interactive, it's collaborative, it's storytelling. And so then, I played a little while and then I got sucked into doing Shocktober. That would have been 3 years ago. And if you listen to my first episode, I'm like, I had to have help creating the character. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm doing magic. I felt like I did everything wrong. But then you kind of I learned literally on the air with very kind people who let me play with them. And now I'm just excited. I've got 2 more characters I'm planning, one for a podcast, one we're starting an online game with a different group of friends. And so I get to play a lot. And during the pandemic, we were just, what else are we doing? So let's just play a lot of D&D. So we did a whole bunch of stuff, and it's none of it's aired yet. It's just sitting there waiting. So it'll be really fun.
I feel you. I got 4 games going, so I know about that. And it is a dream of mine to LARP Clue, to like find a big mansion and have everybody dress up and play the parts.
God,
my
That'd be
God.
amazing.
So much fun.
Yes,
Right?
I'm available.
Oh
Like,
my God, I want to do that.
Yes.
I
Okay.
want that.
We are all
Please.
in.
I will fly out. I will
Yes.
fly out.
Yeah.
We're all there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone
Lindsay.
I know who does D&D, or she does a Regency ball here. So we dress up in Regency wear and dance, and
My
totally
dream.
super fun. She set up D&D in a castle somewhere in Europe and had like brought in DMs, and you're like in like a European castle in France somewhere. And I was like, oh,
I will
it's so
fly.
good to
I
go,
would
but
show
I
up
wanted to do
in
it so
full
much.
plate mail. I want to do
Yeah.
that in plate mail with a great
Yeah.
Oh
sword.
God.
I would dress as my Aarakocra. I would be
Oh,
a
yeah.
bird.
You would be bird person.
Yeah. With big gauntlets. Lindsay, on to you.
I guess, well, I played as a child with my dad and my brother, and that, like, I don't even really remember it being an option. So it was just like, oh, we're going camping and we're going to play Dungeons and Dragons when we go camping. And I just like always loved it because it's like a fun storytelling game, so for kids, I think, especially for kids who are as imaginative as my brother and I, it was fun. I loved it. And then I didn't play until I was like, however old I was, like 3 years ago.
21?
Yeah, sure. We'll say that.
Time is a construct. Who gives?
I don't know. The last year has been 15 years, so it's fine. Let's see. Yeah, so when I moved back to Vermont and then I was doing comedy here, and someone in the comedy scene was like, hey, why don't you join all of your funny friends on this podcast where we play Dungeons and Dragons? I was like, obviously, I have to do this. This is amazing. So, yeah. Comedy.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I play with all improvisers and
Yeah, it's
Cockney
mostly
accent goofs that
Oh
we
my God,
pay for eternity.
Yeah. It's, I think, like, probably secretly all of us wanted to be a bard, but
Hey, you do that campaign where everybody is a bard and you're a punk band and you just want to play a show, but people keep asking you for help.
oh my
That's a really
God,
good
that's
idea.
like my dream campaign.
Season 2.
Yeah.
I have a very good idea for a bard, and I will reveal it now if we're not going to do question 8. But if we're going to do question 8, I will wait.
We'll see how much time we have.
Wait.
That could be in your plugs maybe if we don't get to it. And lastly, to the wife, what got you to play? Because we started in like 2013.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, we did play like one or two games that was super fun. What got me into it was, I mean, it's pretty much what so many of these others have said. Like I've always been into fantasy and fairy tales. Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite things. I tried to teach myself Elvish in 4th grade. My dad had the copies of Lord of the Rings, had an Elvish dictionary in the back. So I thought I was very good at, well, that's actually like an official one that I have now, but I thought I was very good at speaking Elvish. And it always appealed to me. I always wanted to play. And I just never came across anybody who played it. And then it came up in conversation. Chris, who has been on this show several times, he has been a DM for a really long time. And we had mentioned we always wanted to play. So he actually got a game together and kind of helped teach us how to play years ago. And then I've just been kind of itching to play since, but it's really just finding people who want to play. And we played a couple times in Vermont with a group of people, and that was really fun. And then when it came up in our group that we play with now with Ellen and her husband and our other 2 friends, it was just like, more people want to play. Okay, great. Yes. Then now we're playing finally so it's just kind of the same thing. It was just something I've always wanted to do. And I love fantasy and playing and being an actor and a writer, and it's storytelling, and you get to do voices and get to be the imaginary creatures you always wanted to be, and get to fight with swords and daggers that, you know, society frowns upon when you fight that way or have a conversation that way, you know? And so, it's that's pretty much it.
I feel like learning to play is, if you haven't like grown up in it, is so, you just have to wait for the moment where it clicks, because you're like, I just remember spending the first session or two being like, but there is no like, there's no,
where are the pieces
there
with
are
two
no
Jenga?
rules.
Right. Like, what do we do now? What's the point? Like, how do we do this?
Right.
How do you prevent me as a character from like wandering off the flat earth? You know, like,
Right.
I just
You can't.
You don't.
That's my job.
But otherwise there's like no, but like the story isn't established because we're making it up as we go along. But if we're making it up as we go along, how do we not just, I just like truly didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, this is stupid.
As a
And
book
then, like,
person, I could see Ellen's frustration of just like, what is this chapter arc?
And then all the
Where
other
are we
board
going?
games you play, all the other board games have like an object and rules and stuff. And like
Yeah.
we've had some of our friends be like, well, did you win? How was your game? Did you win?
Yeah,
And it's like,
exactly.
well, we didn't die, but like it's not really winning. And it is hard to get your your mind to grasp that, in that it is, you know, a story that just goes on, and there
Right.
are no rules or no board. And the learning it's a curve for a couple sessions, and then it does click, and you're like, all right, like what are we doing now? Going down a hole? Okay. Like
I did a lot of like, can you do this? Can I do this? Can I like jump up on that cliff and then do a backflip? And then can we like then I
Acrobatics
slice them
check.
with my sword? And it's like, well, then you got to do a lot of checks, but sure.
Yeah.
So
Flavor
you know,
is
once you're like,
fun.
oh, so I can just tell you what I want, and then you'll tell me if I can do it or not. And like, but it takes a while.
Well, and I
It's
also
yeah.
feel like in the beginning, you have all of that, like you're trying to grasp the idea of like yes, my DM has a story arc, but like I really can do so many things within the story. And there's like actually the mechanics. And so like just trying to grasp both of those things, I think can be potentially challenging. It kind of reminds me, when I learned how to drive, I first started learning how to drive on a stick, which is like what everyone says you should do. But it was like learning the stick and learning the rules of driving were too much for me. So I had to
It's a lot, yeah.
learn to drive. And then later I learned stick. And so I kind of see it's like these two paths, and they are going along together, but they are different things. And so trying to learn them together is a little challenging, but we get there.
Perfect transition into our final question. I'll let you say your dream character in your plugs, Jen. So I need initiative once more, ladies. So first up with our final question of the evening is Mary.
Ooh.
What has been your biggest challenge thus far in your D&D career?
Oh man. Like what? Like in a game, or you mean like as a human being playing a game?
Whichever is bigger.
I don't know.
Raise the stakes, Mary. Raise the stakes.
It's too much pressure. I mean, like if we go, I feel like I've always had like human being wise, let's start there. Human being wise, I feel like I've always had a very like awesome supportive group of people to play with. And I dragged my husband into this, and now he DMs, and like, we've always had a super great group to play with who's like open to talk about like, hey, you know, like this is a topic I'm comfortable with. This is a topic that I would rather not see come up in the games, which I think is super important for people who are role playing. So like as a human being, I don't feel like there have been, even with the pandemic, there hasn't been a ton of challenges, because we have always played, well, we haven't always played virtually, but we switched over a while back because of the amount of actors in the group. So that they could still play while like we were gone on contract. So we just like play Monday nights, since Monday nights are generally dark nights for theater. So yeah, person wise, not a whole lot of challenges, but like in-game challenges, a million. I mean, that's part of the game, right? You know, I don't know. Should I do it like an in-game challenge? Should I do a cool moment? What should I talk about? Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay. Well, recently with Pay, we had a super, oh my gosh. Okay, wait, this was
She found it. It's here. It's here.
Here, gang. We thought we were gonna we thought we were gonna die because we were up against this. There's this whole backstory with this homebrewed world, and there's this whole contingency called the Arcanum, and we were in the Arcanum. The Arcanum was being destroyed, which was a big thing because that's how most of the magical items applied in this world through the Arcanum, which has I guess if the Arcanum was a CVS, it would be in every city, you know what I mean? There's always a branch of the Arcanum. Right. And it now on the Arcanum has been destroyed. But while it was being destroyed, we were trying to stop it. And there was this giant Tarrasque in the Arcanum. And we were like, oh no, we're gonna die. Because they're what, CR 30 or something? We were gonna die. And towards the end of this fight, I got swallowed. But I'm a horizon walker. So I used ethereal step, walked up through the ethereal plane, up through its throat to the top of its head, and had the glorious luck of delivering the killing blow.
Amazing.
That's so cool.
And I literally was Wah! It was the best use of ethereal step I'd ever been able to do, and it was so exciting. So that was a huge in-game challenge. Everyone else was like, oh man, you got the killing blow. It was I got the killing blow. Pei played it really cool. I did not, but Pei was like, yeah, whatever. She's a cat and she doesn't care. Yeah.
She just went and had a bath after. She's like, and beat it.
Just went and knocked the glass off the shelf. Just fuck this thing.
Yeah, she was like, I'm gonna break this bottle because I can. I know we're trying to save the Arcanum, but I don't care.
Smash. Rachel, next to you.
I don't know. Well, math.
Amen to that.
Yes, math has been my enemy for a long time. Math
never ever ask me what 8 + 7 is.
No,
it will
never
take me a
ask
solid
me.
minute to figure it out.
15. D&D has taught me math.
Whenever math
we
comes
didn't ask you.
You know, when you have to do triangle angles because you're in the air, I always team math squad, someone please do it for me.
Exactly. Yes. If I say silent enough, I know someone will already have done the math in our group. So it works out really well for me. If I'm and 8 + 7, and someone will say 15 and I'm like, great, awesome. It is 15, right? I don't even know. But so math is the biggest challenge for me. And then I guess I don't know, I guess staying on my toes. I find I still have to look up a lot of spells and things like that. There's some that I use often that I know the mechanics of, and others that I don't for my other character, for my druid tiefling. Not so much for River Swift, which I also really kind of like that being more hand-to-hand combat. I don't have as many spells, so it's kind of nice to have sort of the difference. But other than that, it's just kind of learning the mechanics of the game and learning kind of what works for every character, to learn your strengths and weaknesses that you haven't made up for your character, learning what works and what doesn't, how you can be useful in battle or in conversation or kind of role playing and stuff like that. So that's kind of a fun challenge. It's never a hard challenge. It's always a fun challenge to kind of figure out the dynamics and your role and stuff. So math remains my arch nemesis forever.
Yes, indeed. Jen, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, out of game, I would echo what people are saying in that I'm fortunate. I mean, A, I'm such a new player, but also B, the people I've been playing with for the past couple of months, I feel really comfortable with. And so I haven't had any sort of weird moments. I think because we are improvisers and we have improvised together, it's just oh, okay, yeah, we know exactly how this goes. We know what stuff we're not going to go towards. And if we did go towards a subject that someone was uncomfortable with, we could talk about it, and that would be very good. In game, I would say, so I was interested in playing a cleric because I am also playing a different RPG. And in that game, we had 2 player character deaths. In a ship exploded and we lost 2 of our player characters, and I was traumatized. And I made a Spotify playlist of moody songs because I was so upset and I didn't know how to handle my very real emotions happening about fake people.
All Elliott Smith.
I was like, oh my god.
So I was so traumatized by that event. And within that system, there is no mechanic for healing in battle. So when we start talking about doing the C&D game, I was like, I want to be a cleric because I don't want to have to deal with that again. I want to be able to heal people in battle. And I am like very glad I can do that, but I think I've also been very enticed by battle magic. And so trying to balance that of like, your role is to buff your team, but I also just want to like guiding bolt people all the time and be like, take that moonbeam, like. And so trying, like, when I'm preparing my spells, trying to remember, I think, what I need to do and maybe give that more priority than what I want to do.
I found playing a cleric is very difficult too, because you know your role as the support guy, but then you're in the back going, oh, I just want to hit him in the face.
Yeah.
Oh, just let me smash.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I'm gonna
Lindsay.
chime in one more time and be like,
of course.
no, I'm not saving you if your ass doesn't only have like 3 points. Like,
That's right.
I don't know who really actually started this whole clerics are here to save people bullshit, because
It's also
think-
like, yeah, the clerics
the
are there to
source
save
book.
you, but like, do you have a healing potion? Is that my
Right.
problem that you don't have a healing potion?
In your
You
game,
should've
is it
stocked
a
up.
bonus action to drink a potion? Because that's great.
Bonus
Use
action,
it.
drink that
Yeah.
shit, and then you can hit them in the face again.
Yeah.
In
Chug,
one of my
chug,
games,
smudge,
that
smudge.
is a bonus action, and in another game, it's not a bonus
It's
action.
an action
Mm.
to use it.
Ooh.
It's
Yeah.
an
Rude.
action to
Then I-
drink a healing. Oh,
'Cause
that's
we're playing it in-
mean.
Both my campaigns are in homebrewed worlds, so like I always am like, wait, in this world, is this the one where it's bonus or not? Because that's gonna change what I'm about to do.
That's so
Mm.
mean. That's so mean.
Rude. Lindsay, challenges for you in your gaming.
Perhaps the biggest challenge, at least with Ildov, was, this is going to be a spoiler. Sorry. How far are you on the podcast? I really don't want to spoil anything for you.
They
like-
are still in your dreams or like in your memories.
Okay, but
So
she's
I'm
been
close.
possessed. Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, this
This is a great
way before
podcast, by
that.
the way. Listen up.
So it's, yeah, I guess it was when Ildov, because she's a warlock, right? So she has this pact with this demon, and then at a certain point, the demon takes over. And so for me, it was challenging to go from playing this character who I knew really well because I've been playing her for years, and then suddenly it's like she's like lost inside this giant beast who could do some really cool shit, but like didn't have as many feelings. So I don't know. I was playing, like, Ildov's half elf, half human, so it's like I was playing her to have feelings. I don't know. It's just hard for me to not have feelings, I guess.
Amen.
Is that, yeah.
Yep.
That's a big
Jen,
that
you
was
should
my
share
biggest
your
challenge.
playlist with Lindsay.
Yeah,
She
right.
needs.
I honestly feel like it
Drop
would
that in the
be-
chat.
Just
Yeah.
put either
Would be
or on
cathartic.
repeat. You'll be fine.
Elliot Smith,
Also,
Damian
like,
Rice.
I will
But
take
like,
some
truthfully, a good
recommendations.
playlist can make a game.
Oh,
sure.
For reals.
My new
Yeah.
thing when I'm doing my recap is to play something that's thematically, even if just one word of the song it relates to what we're talking about.
There you go.
So when we're playing Strahd, I've been playing Werewolves of London a lot because there's werewolves there. And it's
That's good.
fun. Music is important.
Just stick with the
important.
Warcraft music. That's the best D&D music.
It is
good.
very
And
good.
The Witcher. It's good.
It is very good. Ellen, biggest challenge for you in our game.
You know what? Not so like dissimilar from math. I still have trouble. If you're like, roll a d10, I look down at all of the dice and I'm like, I have to count all the sides. I'm like, a d12 is a soccer ball.
I actually used to set up all of, like, I would put each die on the highest
Yes.
number so that I wouldn't have to
Oh.
think about it. Yeah.
That's really smart.
Because
That's
I didn't
smart.
want
Smart.
I didn't, yeah, I just was like, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
spend too much time thinking about this, so I feel
Yes.
you.
Yeah. And you roll certain ones so rarely that you're like, I don't know, don't worry about that one. And then the one time you do. I also think I just sometimes struggle with patience. Like, for being such a story-oriented person in my real life, I guess I kind of expected to get into this game and be like, story. And instead, I'm much more like, let's battle things. I don't want to talk about it. And
It's
like,
surprising to me as well.
Wait, I'm sorry. So is Ellen's character actually a murder hobo?
I think that's what
But
she's
for
trying to
good?
say.
Good.
A murder
ARLYSS
hobo for the Lord. Excuse me.
ARLYSS is so
for the
interesting.
Lord. Yes, yes.
That doesn't seem
Yikes.
that crazy to me.
She's trying to root out all of this chaos by destroying everything she possibly can.
I mean, are you
why.
guys aware? Are you familiar with religion?
I was gonna say that very much sounds like the Crusades.
Yeah,
Yes.
A little bit.
You're not wrong
It
there.
does.
To be fair, I would be happy to spare their lives at the end, but things just have a way of like not like giving in to, you know, like they like throw themselves on your sword practically, and you're like, well, I didn't mean to do that, you know. Or, I would have forgiven you, but you just continued to like hammer down on that poor innocent over there. So here we are. So the thing, I guess the other thing that I struggle with the most is like being patient when we're doing like not even like role playing things, but like administrative things. Like we'll be in town and it's like, does anyone need to go to the blacksmith or like, you know, trade in their marbles for cash or like chit chat with a bartender? And I'm like, why are we still here? No, I don't need to see a blacksmith.
Oh my
Ellen, I
gosh.
have to agree with you. Sometimes I find downtime to be like really trying. I would prefer to just like get on the adventure. I'm like, can we just fast forward these 2 weeks? Like, yeah, I went to the bar, carouse, done. Check.
Yeah. We rested.
2,
we fed
3,
the
I
dog
did
in the
these things,
basement.
moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
I bought a
know.
sword, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Just tell me at the end that you like spent 20 hours learning your spell, Mr. Wizard, and we'll like
People bought books. People got swords. People got things fixed. Let's go.
let's go.
Unless it's like super intriguing. If it's like super intriguing,
Right,
I'm like,
right.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, if there's like a random merchant in town in a circus tent that has weird shit, I want to look through his catalog. But if he's just like some random bartender, I don't give a shit. Just give me my
No.
food and give me a room.
Yeah. It turns out I've accidentally walked into a dalliance with a blacksmith back in a town whose name eludes me. But sometimes
Reefkin.
Reefkin. No, not his
Come
name, the
on.
town. I remember Reefkin,
Oh,
obviously.
God, Reef
Uskar.
Too. Ooh,
Uskar.
okay, doesn't. Yeah. So we exchange letters sometimes still. And that
Yes, teen
Adorable.
CW
So
teen
cute.
drama.
Oh my
That's what every
gosh.
campaign needs is
The D&D
CW teen
It's
drama.
so cute,
Oh
you
my
guys. It's so
gosh.
cute.
The D&D notebook.
I would love to play like a one-off, like Riverdale-esque.
Yes,
That would be
campaign.
fun.
Sign me
That
up.
was so
Yes.
fun.
sign me up.
Yeah,
Sexy.
So much
absolutely.
angst.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, so much.
All the feelings. You could
It's-
feel all the feelings.
Oh my gosh,
feel
no, but
everything.
you'd all be level 16, but also be 16.
Yeah,
We all
exactly.
come in with our
Rough.
we all come in with our angsty playlists
Yeah.
and we're
Yes.
ready to go.
We got our Elliot Smith and the dark eyeliner. We're good.
Like a spiked cell.
Tori
yeah.
Amos, like
Oh
let's
my
do
gosh.
it.
My manic panic pink streak.
Would we also all be bards? Because this is feeling like a very
my
bard
God.
heavy
We're all
session.
Might be
Mussolini the vampire
vampire
queen.
too.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah.
There you have
Be
it.
legit in one of my campaigns. He's out in the world now, but he's not a current character. We jokingly like made this one guy play a character named Joe Bloke, who's just like an average guy, but he's a bard, but he was like a super angsty half-orc teen who
Yes.
turned out to be like the love child of a very powerful fairy entity. And he every once in a while pops up, or like a song, our DM will be like, yeah, you walk into this bar and you kind of recognize this tune, and it's like some half-orc like punk rock band. So Joe Bloke, it's like the CW character keeps popping back up over and over.
Amazing.
I love that.
That's so fun. Annette, on to you. What's been some of your bigger challenges?
I think for me, I just really am like, I don't see myself ever being an actor. I don't really want to. So like doing the whole role play part of it was quite hard. So like even the storytelling part, I had to learn how to, I feel like, let go a little bit, but I think it's been a really good lesson. And again, like when you're doing it with just a group of your friends, or I've been DMing my nieces and nephews for a while when they have time for me. And that is really like, that's kind of one thing. But then when you're being put on a podcast and you're like, oh, suddenly I need to like perform for people. And I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself. And on the other hand, I've really been learning. And then the last storyline we recorded was on the Eberron Express, and it was a murder train. And so there was a group of like, I think there was 6 of us, and they randomly pick one of you to be the murderer, and you're solving the mystery together. And there's almost no fighting. And it's like, like secret lovers are coming out, and we like spent all this time creating elaborate backstories with each other and stuff. And like all this stuff is coming out. And so it's like all just collaborative storytelling and role playing. And I just felt really proud of being able to do that. And also it was just so much fun. And and I was like, that character was just so much fun. And I just felt like, oh, like this is, 2 or 3 years later, how much I've grown just being able to play. And I just like, it teaches you skills, it teaches us math, it teaches us creativity, it teaches us all this stuff. And it's just, yeah, it's still like not my happy place, but now I'm like, I feel like I could do improv now. Whereas if you'd asked me 3 years ago, like, no way.
You should do it. It's so fun.
Yeah, or I'll just play more D&D.
Or just play more D&D. Honestly,
Kind of the
D&D
same.
is
D&D is improv.
It's very similar.
It's very
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it feels like it is a form of like sort of guided improv through the game, and
For sure.
it's so fun.
It's like a Christopher Guest movie
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
we have prompts, but please play out the scene as you see fit, and we'll go with the best one.
Right.
Lucy.
So my biggest challenge both in and out of game actually kind of just ended. So for our entire campaign that we're doing of Out of the Abyss, I was playing 2 characters at the same time. We started with another player who had built a cleric, and then with time constraints, she wasn't able to continue the campaign. So we're like, okay. And I was the only one that wasn't a brand new player. And even though I'd only been playing for like maybe a month longer, but I was like, I'll do it, whatever, fine. So I took on both characters, one which is ZAVARY, who is the cleric. And then I was playing this half-orc fighter named Therarak, who was the one I had originally built. And so through this whole campaign, I've been, which is it'll be like, okay, I have to keep track of like, okay, when I'm rolling initiative, on for that, because my initiative modifiers are different, or like, hey, I'm gonna roll a survival check, but this person has better, so I don't want to like nerf it by just picking the better one as to who's doing it. So I had to teach myself to like announce it in advance, like, hey, Therarak wants to do this, and then ZAVARY and do this. I did find myself playing more and more a lot with ZAVARY because she was just a lot more fun. And our DM, who is my husband, ended up finding a really good way to kind of write Therarak out that was really kind of heroic and cool, because she was a martial background fighter. And so basically we were in this tavern and came upon a couple of her old army buddies who were going to go rescue their sergeant who was being captured. She was like, sorry guys, I gotta go. Like, this is the guy that saved me on the battlefield. I gotta pay him back. So like, it was a really cool, like walking off into the sunset kind of way for her to exit the campaign without killing her, which would have been really sad because she's a badass. And also, like, making me not have to play double duty. So now my new challenge will be going forward only playing one character. So I'm interested to see how battle mechanics will work now that my cleric will have to find that balancing game of when do I buff and when do I heal. So that's kind of been the difficult thing that is now changing, and I'm looking forward to how it kind of evolves.
It was a fun moment too, because obviously none of us knew that they were doing that, but the way Ted was playing the orcs was really aggressive and kind of shitty. So we were all like standing up for Therarak, like, dude, stop, don't talk to her like that. What the hell? And then it occurred to me that I was like, oh, this is her exit. And our friend Matt that we play with was still trying to get these guys to leave Therarak alone and to like back off. And I in character, I like put my hand on Bull Maris's shoulder. I was like, I think it's time for Therarak to go. And he's just like, out of character. He's like, what is happening right now? I don't understand. It was really cool.
It was cool. It was a cool
All
moment.
right. Ladies, this has been a goddamn delight. and we went a little bit longer than I expected, but we had some excellent conversation. So I ain't mad about it. But let's go around and we'll do some plugs. This episode is going to drop March 12th.
Oh,
March 12th. So
Great.
starting with Lucy, plugs if you got any, socials if you want them. And if you want to throw in that dream character that we didn't get to, go right ahead.
so all my plugs will have passed by now, but I will throw in my dream plug character, which I'm actually waiting for the one shot to happen so I could play her. It is a bugbear oathbreaker paladin named Jessica.
She sent this to me and it just says in all caps, Jessica. And I was like, oh God, here we go.
That was in the random name generator in D&D, and I was like, yep, I can build this. I can make this happen.
Wow.
She's pretty rad. But all on the socials, you can find me at LF Horton. And this has been, as in the words of Lincoln L. Hayes, a goddamn delight.
Annette, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on a lot of podcasts on the Incomparable Network, one being Total Party Kill. I also host one called Agents of Smooch, which is all about romance. And I have a whole collection of agents who come and join me for various missions. And I co-host Earp Chirp with Erica and our friend Kirsten, and we talk about Winona Earp, which is filmed in Alberta, which is where I'm from, and we're really obsessed with it. So we're doing new episodes of that right now because we are catching up on season 4, and you can find me at Scriptorium Girl on Twitter.
I didn't mention it yet, but the typewriter behind you is awesome, and I'm jealous.
Oh, thanks. That's my grandfather's typewriter.
Very nice.
It's very cool.
Dreams. Mary.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm on Instagram. I don't do Twitter because I'm bad at it. So you can find me on Instagram at MaryMac528. And I'll plug, I just had actually the episode that I'm in drop today. I want to plug Dark Valley, an anthology podcast. It's sort of like Twilight Zone meets 1940s radio play. And the episode that I am featured in just dropped today. The Many Words of Gwen Miller. I am Gwen Miller. And it's really awesome. So that dropped today. And then I want to plug my friend's podcast, which is Encounter Party. They also do like stuff on Twitch, but it's a really fun D&D podcast Twitch show if you ever just need another cool thing to check out.
Lindsay, you would be next. Lindsay.
I would be, wouldn't I? So that's so me, you know, just next.
You get a +2 for mustard now.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Are we rolling again?
Yes.
No, we're wrapping up.
It's just me. It's just me.
Just keep rolling.
After this is
Keep
done.
rolling.
You can find me on the podcast Improvised Weapons, which is almost totally done, or the first like arc, the first season or whatever is almost done. So there's a lot of catching up to do, which is great for everyone who has a lot of time. And you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at LindsayJane_ha. That's it. I'm not doing anything else.
Rachel
Wife, onto you.
Yeah, I'm also not really doing much. You can find me, I'm mostly on Instagram. I have a Twitter and I'm the same way. I have no idea how to use it. I mostly just stalk I'm like a lurker on Twitter. But you can find me on Instagram at Le Petit Renard. And I have a website, Rachel Riendeau, which is my main name and my actor writer name. .com. I have a blog there and some short stories. And then I also have a couple of articles up on sartorialgeek.com. I'm a contributor with them. I have one actually about D&D that went live a couple of weeks ago that will obviously still be live, about how it kind of helps you let out your weird a little bit, and that everybody and anybody can play, and it kind of brings out this side of you that maybe you don't get to show a lot, that maybe you did as a kid and now you're an adult with responsibilities, and talking about 401ks, and maybe you just want to stab something and do some magic and shoot some fireballs. So yeah, but that's me.
Jenn, onto you.
Yeah, the only thing I have going on is happening in an hour. So everyone here, if you would like to watch the Seattle Festival of Improv's very first night, I will be telling the thrilling and dramatic tale of how I broke my clavicle last year for the improv team Broken Bones, and they will be using that to improvise. Otherwise, I'm going to plug the same things I did last time. Hey, stay inside. Hey, get that vaccine. Like, I think those are great things, and then we can go outside and have things to plug again. And if you're in the Seattle area and this is a future time, come check out Fancy Cafeteria Musical Improv, my musical improv team. Yes. And my dream character.
I forgot we were doing that.
Don't forget.
How dare you forget Jessica?
Yeah.
After all she's done for you.
My dream character is I want to play a College of Glamour bard with a keytar. So I essentially am going to play Jem.
Whoa.
Yes.
Truly outrageous. She will also have a microphone mace.
I love her.
This campaign
everything.
I told this to my DM offhand, and he was like, I'm going to build that campaign for you. It's going to be set in the 80s. And then another one of my friends is like, I have to play a kid detective, right? And I was like, yes, you do.
Correct.
So it's just going to be like every 80s trope ever. But bard with a keytar, man.
You gotta have the high school dropout with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Truly.
And your socials if you want them.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly just retweet things on Twitter. That's SassafrasJ, and that's also my Instagram. But yeah, find me there.
Very good. Speaking of vaccinations, during this very recording, I got a text from my dad that he got vaccinated. Hey.
Yay!
All right,
terrific.
lastly, Ellen, round us
I'm
out.
like the least interesting here. I'm reclusive. I lurk on social media, and I don't really want to talk to you if I don't know you, but
Valid.
but if you happen to have a like stunningly wonderful mystery crime thriller commercial women's fiction or parenting book, feel free to find me at the Garner Company. So
What a fun little center of a Venn diagram there.
You should write.
You know what?
You should write that book,
Yeah.
the
I've
murder
mentioned
thriller
about-
parenting guide.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, isn't that what we're talking about? Like Encyclopedia Brown, basically, but like his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was Encyclopedia Brown's mom? I want to know.
At the
a very good
library.
question.
Parenting murder.
The hard
Venn diagram.
question.
Very good
busy writing
question.
a
I
book.
want to read that book.
Yeah.
Me too.
Absolutely want
Yeah. Yeah. Please.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you've written it, let me know.
Reach out, folks. Reach out.
Mm.
I am Lincoln L. Hayes. You can find me on the socials at Lincoln L. Hayes. You can follow this show on the gram, Session Zero D&D show. Please do that. You can find all the shows, episodes thus far on my website, lincolnlhayes.com/session0. And you can follow all my socials for the tweets and the retweets and the pictures and the videos and the clips and all the good stuff. And we got one episode left this season. I'm looking forward to it. It is an LGBTQ specific episode, and I'm looking forward to getting those perspectives, as I was so excited to do this episode with all of you fantastic ladies this evening. Do stay tuned to the show. There will be a hiatus after the first season because, frankly, Rachel's tired of me doing the show.
Yes.
And we got some fun ideas. I teased, the all punk band bard group adventuring party.
And the
We're gonna do-
rogues.
Can I say it?
Oh, sorry.
And then we're going to do a heist episode with all rogues.
Oops, all rogues.
Oh, oops.
Oops, all rogues.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
always here for a heist.
Oops, all
Oh
rogues.
my guys. You son
I
of
got-
a bitch. I'm in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One last
I've got
One
a Selena
last
Kyle Tabaxi ready to go.
So
Yep.
good.
Yep. So if you are interested in being on this show, being a panelist, the idea is to do some one-shots interspersed with more of these kind of panel conversations. Please go to my website. There's a sign-up sheet. There's a survey. It's a bunch of stuff. Or just reach out to me and ask. Or tell me that you play D&D, and I will bombard you until you do this show. Make everybody here. Thank you so much, ladies. This has been awesome. Everybody have a wonderful night. Stay safe, and go play some D&D. Bye.
Bye.
It's me again. Did that seem like fun? All that D&D talk? Well, I could teach you if you want. Just go to my website, lincolnlhays.com/storytelling, and take a look. I can teach it a couple hours, run through the basics with you, do a small session, see what you think. I can run it for just you and a couple friends, you and your family, you and some coworkers. What do you got to lose? If you don't like it, it's one night of TV you don't watch. But if you do like it, you have a hobby you can play for the rest of your life. Sounds good to me. Head over to my website, lincolnlhays.com/storytelling. Let's chat. And thanks for watching Session 0. See you next week.